All right, so we're diving deep today, and it's all thanks to you. You sent in Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking.
Talk about a classic, right?
Oh, absolutely. This book's like the OG guide to a better life.
Yeah, it really seems to cover it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Self-confidence, dealing with tough situations, even finding real happiness.
It's been helping people for decades. And you know what? There's a good reason for that.
I'm all ears.
Peale doesn't just tell you to be positive, he gives you actual tools, like real strategies you can use.
I love that. And he starts off with a story about a businessman, super successful, but totally riddled with self-doubt.
Hmm.
He's convinced he's going to mess up this big deal.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
He feels totally inadequate, like he's not up to the task.
You know, it's funny because I think we've all felt that way at some point, haven't we?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of not being good enough.
Exactly. And that's where Peele's brilliance comes in.
Okay, tell me more.
He uses this really common experience, this feeling of inadequacy, to introduce his two-step approach.
Okay, I'm intrigued. First, you got to dig deep. Figure out where that lack of belief comes from. What's at the root of it?
Interesting.
And then the second step is to start building up faith in yourself.
So it's not just about slapping on a smile and pretending everything's okay.
No, no, not at all. It's about real inner work, changing your mindset from the inside out.
I like that. It's proactive.
And one of the best examples of this is the story of the traveling salesman.
Oh, yeah, the one who used Bible verses on cards.
Exactly. He used those cards to combat negative thoughts while he was driving.
Imagine that, turning your commute into a positivity boot camp.
Right. He was basically creating his own mental defense system.
So smart. And you know what else stood out to me? The story about the guy who felt totally defeated and started listing his assets.
Oh, yeah, I love that one. He was like completely down on himself.
Yeah, felt like he had nothing going for him.
But then he starts writing down what he does have. His supportive wife, his loving kids, his integrity.
And suddenly, bam, a whole new perspective emerges.
It's amazing how simply acknowledging what we already have can shift our whole outlook.
It's like he rediscovered his own power just by remembering his strength.
It's so simple, but so profound, isn't it?
It makes me think of that saying, gratitude turns what we have into enough.
Exactly. And Peele is basically saying, hey, you've already got a lot going for you, so focus on that. Stop dwelling on what's missing.
Okay, this is inspiring me to grab a notebook and start listing my own assets right now.
You should.
And speaking of shifting focus, Peele then dives into the importance of a peaceful mind. He tells the story about a man so desperate for peace that he wanted a prayer session over the phone. Can you imagine?
That's pretty intense.
Right. It just shows how deeply we crave that inner peace.
They all want that sense of calm, don't we?
And Peele seems to be saying that finding that peace starts with quieting the negative chatter in our minds.
He uses a powerful analogy, comparing those little negatives to termites.
Termites.
Yeah, he says they're like these tiny little creatures slowly eating away at our mental foundation.
Okay, I get it. So it's not just about avoiding complaining, it's about actively filling our lives with positivity.
Exactly. We need to be proactive about creating a peaceful mental environment.
Like the executive who found comfort in reading the Bible during his stressful commute.
Oh, that's a good one.
What stands out to you about that story?
Well, I think it shows that creating a peaceful inner world is a choice. It's like building a muscle. We have to train our minds to focus on the good.
So even when the world around us feels chaotic, we can cultivate a sense of calm within.
Exactly. And this leads us perfectly into Peele's concept of drawing strength from within.
Oh yeah, this is where he talks about the tense vacationer at Lake Mohonk.
You know, the guy who's surrounded by beauty and tranquility but just can't relax.
Right, he's like fighting against his own peace.
It's like he brought all the stress with him on vacation.
And haven't we all been there? In a beautiful setting, but with a mind racing a mile a minute.
Oh, for sure.
So how do we tap into that inner strength when our minds are going haywire?
Well, Peele introduces the power of visualization.
Okay, tell me more about that.
He suggests finding a peaceful image, something that brings you a sense of calm, like a quiet forest, a calm ocean.
I can picture it now.
And he says to really immerse yourself in it. Picture the details, the colors, the sounds, the sensations.
It's like creating a mental vacation for your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about daydreaming. It's about intentionally shifting your focus to something positive and calming.
I like that. And he also talks about the baseball pitcher who used a Bible verse to regain strength during a game.
Oh yeah, he was struggling, feeling the pressure.
But then he remembers this verse and suddenly he's back in the game, stronger than ever.
It's a fascinating example of how our faith, our beliefs, can be a source of real strength.
It's like tapping into a deeper well of power that's always available to us.
I think that's a really beautiful way to put it.
And it connects to those moments when we need to recharge our batteries, but instead of sleep or coffee, it's about connecting to something bigger than ourselves.
And that connection is so central to Peele's message, isn't it?
It really is. He seems to be saying that God is this endless source of energy that we can tap into.
Like a wellspring of strength and resilience.
Exactly. And that this connection isn't about rituals or dogma. It's about tapping into a constant flow of energy from a higher power.
Enabling us to face whatever life throws our way with a little more grace, a little more resilience.
And you know what's interesting? This idea of drawing strength from within connects to his emphasis on relaxation as a key to power and efficiency.
Yeah, it's a surprising link, isn't it?
You'd think relaxation would make you less productive, but Peale seems to suggest the opposite.
He flips the script.
Totally. He talks about his friend, super high-strung, always rushing around.
Yeah, the one who finally realized the wisdom of slowing down.
Exactly. He observes these birds moving with such effortless grace.
And he realizes maybe there's something to this whole slow down thing.
So instead of burning ourselves out with those hectic habits, maybe we should be taking a cue from nature.
Maybe we should be aligning ourselves with a more natural, maybe even divine pace.
And he even gives us practical ways to do this, doesn't he?
He does.
Like talking to your muscles and joints, affirming peace, practicing mental quiet.
It's almost like mindfulness, but way before it was trendy.
Totally.
It's a good reminder that relaxation isn't about being lazy. It's about creating that inner stillness that allows us to access our true potential.
And I think that's a really powerful idea.
It is.
And this sense of peace, this inner strength, it seems like the perfect foundation for what Peale dives into next. The power of faith to solve problems and even transform our lives.
You know, when you think about it, it makes sense, right? When you're grounded, when you're centered, you're more equipped to handle whatever comes your way.
Absolutely. And Peale introduces this fascinating concept: prayerizing, picturizing, and actualizing.
It sounds a little like a magic formula, doesn't it?
It does, but really it's a three-step process for manifesting our desires.
I like that, manifesting our desires.
So first, there's prayerizing. And this isn't just about formal prayers. It's about infusing our lives with a sense of prayerfulness, like a constant conversation with the divine.
It's about inviting that higher power into every aspect of our lives.
Exactly. And then comes picturizing, holding a vivid mental image of the outcome we desire, almost like creating a mental blueprint for success.
Oh, I like that analogy, a mental blueprint.
And finally, there's actualizing, taking concrete steps towards that vision.
So it's not just wishful thinking, it's about combining faith with action.
Exactly, bringing our dreams into reality. And he gives such a great example with the wife who visualized her husband's return.
Oh, the one where he wanted a divorce.
Yes, but she held on to this mental picture of him sitting in his chair at home, happy and content.
And you know what? It eventually happened.
It's amazing.
It really speaks to the power of belief.
And how our thoughts can shape our reality.
By consistently holding on to that positive image, she shifted the energy of the situation.
And ultimately achieved the outcome she desired.
Peale is basically saying that our minds are incredibly powerful. And when we combine that power with faith, incredible things can happen.
I love that. And you know, Peale also emphasizes the power of praying for others. Remember the story about his experience on the train?
Oh, where he was sending out thoughts of love and goodwill to complete strangers.
That's the one. It's such a beautiful idea.
It is. It's a reminder that prayer isn't just about asking for things for ourselves. It's about extending that positive energy outwards.
Contributing to a greater good.
Exactly. Like we're all part of this interconnected web, and our thoughts and prayers can actually make a difference.
Okay, that's a really beautiful way to think about it. And speaking of a greater good, Peale then jumps into the topic of happiness. And he starts with this funny observation that so many people seem to manufacture their own unhappiness.
It's true, isn't it? We can get so caught up in negativity.
And then he contrasts this with the simple joys listed by a group of school children.
Oh, yeah, those are great.
A swallow flying, clear water, a dog's eyes.
It's such a good reminder that happiness often lies in appreciating those simple, everyday moments.
The things we often take for granted.
Exactly. And Peale challenges us to cultivate those simple habits that foster happiness.
Like reciting Psalm 118.24 daily.
This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
It's about making a conscious choice to focus on the good.
Choosing joy even when things are tough.
And speaking of choosing joy, remember that heartwarming story about Red Cap number 42 at Grand Central Station?
The guy with the humble job who radiated love and goodwill.
That's him.
He was amazing,
Yeah.
spreading joy to everyone he met.
It's a beautiful illustration of Peele's point that happiness isn't about our circumstances. It's about the love and kindness we choose to share with the world.
And what I find so inspiring is that even in the midst of a bustling train station, one person's genuine compassion can create a ripple effect.
It's like a little spark that can ignite a whole chain of positive interactions.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that we all have the power to be a source of happiness, regardless of our position or status.
Our small acts of kindness can make a huge impact.
And from happiness, Peele transitions into the topic of overcoming obstacles.
Which seems like a natural progression, doesn't it?
It does.
First, we cultivate that inner peace and joy. And then we're better equipped to face those challenges. He starts with that salesman who used, I believe, as his business card.
Oh, I love that. What a statement.
It's about embodying that belief in everything we do, projecting confidence and attracting success.
And Peele gives a great example of this with Schlater and the baseball team.
Oh, the ones who believed in those special bats.
Yes. They believed so much that their performance actually improved.
It's like that saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
The power of belief to shape our reality.
It's amazing.
And Peele even suggests that belief is like a magnetic force. When we truly believe in something, we draw the resources and opportunities we need.
Wow, that's powerful.
He even quotes an editor who affirmed daily, "A man who is self-reliant, positive, optimistic, and undertakes his work with the assurance of success magnetizes his condition."
He draws to himself the creative powers of the universe.
That's powerful stuff.
It really is. It makes me think about how our thoughts can literally shape our reality.
And then there's that story about the businessman who had a basket on his desk labeled, "With God, all things are possible."
Oh, yeah, he would toss all his problem-related papers in there.
It was such a brilliant way to externalize those worries and surrender control to a higher power.
Like saying, okay, I've done my part, now I'm trusting that things will work out.
Exactly.
And Peele contrasts this with the obstacle man.
The one who's so focused on the challenges that he misses the opportunities.
He describes this conversation between two men discussing a business venture.
One keeps listing all the reasons it won't work, while the other focuses on how to remove those obstacles.
Which approach do you think leads to success?
Well, I think it's pretty clear, isn't it? It's about adopting a proactive approach to problem solving.
Not dwelling on limitations, but looking for creative solutions.
Exactly. Peele seems to be saying that our attitude towards obstacles can either empower us or hold us back.
It's all about perspective.
And that leads us to another powerful example of overcoming obstacles, the story of Charles and his battle with alcoholism.
Oh, this is a tough one.
It is. Charles is released from the hospital feeling completely lost and desperate.
And it happens to be a holiday, so his church is closed. He's essentially all alone.
But something draws him to Peele's church, Marble Collegiate Church.
Even though the building is locked, he sits on the steps, and he feels this overwhelming sense of peace and hope wash over him.
It's like an unseen force guided him to that very spot at that precise moment.
And from that point on, Charles never looked back. He embraced sobriety and found strength in his faith.
It's such a powerful example of the transformative power of surrendering to something greater than ourselves.
Yes.
A reminder that we don't have to face our challenges alone.
There's a source of strength and guidance available to us if we're open to it.
And on that note of hope and resilience, I think we've reached a good point to pause.
We've covered so much already. It's amazing.
From believing in ourselves and finding inner peace to overcoming obstacles and discovering joy in the simplest things.
It's been a fascinating journey so far, and we've only just begun.
We'll be back soon to delve deeper into Peele's wisdom. Stay tuned.
I can't wait.
Welcome back to your deep dive. I'm ready for more Peele. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. Last time we were talking about, finding that inner peace, drawing strength from within, and even tackling those obstacles, but with a positive mindset, right?
Hey, that was a powerful stuff.
And now Peele takes us in this, fascinating direction. The link between positive thinking and, get this, our health.
The mind-body connection.
It's like he's saying our thoughts don't just affect our mood, they impact our well-being on a physical level.
Right. And, that's something modern medicine is really starting to understand more and more.
I think so, too. Back then, it was pretty revolutionary.
Oh, for sure. But Peele was ahead of his time. He was recognizing the interplay between our mental and physical states way back then.
He wasn't saying to ditch your doctor and just, think happy thoughts.
Yeah, well, not at all.
But he was definitely onto something with this whole mind-body connection thing.
Absolutely.
And he even quotes a doctor who noticed a shift in his patient's ailments after World War II. More illnesses seem to be rooted in, like, fear, worry, insecurity.
All those mental and emotional stresses.
Have you ever noticed how stress can manifest physically?
Oh, all the time.
Like tension headaches or stomach aches, even insomnia.
It's like our bodies are trying to tell us something's not right.
And Peale highlights how some clinics back then were already integrating medical and spiritual practices.
They were recognizing that true healing often needed a more holistic approach.
You know, addressing the whole person.
Mind, body, and spirit.
And there's this incredible story Peale shares about a woman whose sister is critically ill.
I think I remember this one.
She's so worried, she goes for a drive and ends up just pouring her heart out in prayer for her sister's recovery.
Powerful stuff.
And what's amazing is, at that very moment, her sister starts to improve.
It's like a miracle, isn't it?
Peale presents this as an example of the power of prayer and faith to influence healing, even from a distance.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
About those connections we have that maybe we don't fully understand.
It's definitely intriguing, the idea that our thoughts and emotions can have such a tangible impact on others.
Do you think there's something to that? This idea of a mind-body connection that goes beyond physical space?
You know, I'm open to it. There's so much we don't know about the human mind and its capabilities.
And Peale suggests there are these three key factors at play in these types of healing experiences: complete surrender to a higher power, a genuine desire to let go of negativity, and a belief in the combined power of medical science and faith.
It's like a three-pronged approach to healing.
Addressing all aspects of ourselves.
The physical, the mental, and the spiritual.
And speaking of transformation, Peale then dives into the power of changing our thoughts. He shares this story about a businessman totally on the verge of giving up, drowning in failure.
I can picture it now.
But then something shifts.
Something clicks.
He embraces a new mindset, starts believing in himself again.
That inner shift can be so powerful.
I think we've all had those moments where a change in perspective can completely change our trajectory.
Oh, absolutely. It's about recognizing that we have the power to choose our thoughts.
And in choosing our thoughts, we choose our reality.
Exactly. And to help us make that shift, Peale lays out 7 specific steps to move from negativity to positivity.
7 steps. Wow.
It sounds like a lot, but they're actually pretty simple.
Okay, like what?
He encourages replacing negative statements with positive affirmations, focusing on our strengths, immersing ourselves in faith-based literature.
Surrounding ourselves with positive influences.
It's like creating a positive ecosystem for yourself.
I love that.
If you're constantly bombarded with negativity, it's going to be harder to maintain that positive outlook.
But if you surround yourself with people and things that uplift you, it makes it easier to stay on track.
Exactly.
And it's interesting how Peale circles back to the importance of relaxation. Remember the story about him learning to sit in the sun to de-stress?
It's such a simple but powerful image.
Right. Sometimes the simplest things are the most effective.
And he connects this concept of relaxation to increased efficiency.
You'd think slowing down would make you less productive.
But he suggests the opposite.
It's like he's advocating for a more sustainable approach to life, one that honors our need for both effort and restoration.
And he even shares Eddie Rickenbacker's 3-point formula for relaxation: physical collapse, mental drain, and spiritual focus.
It's like a mini reset for the mind, body, and spirit.
Exactly.
A recipe for burnout prevention, for sure.
And, all of this leads to Peale's powerful conclusion: the idea of God as an unseen partner in our lives.
He tells a story about a discouraged man at a golf club who's advised to lean on a higher power to overcome his challenges.
It's a concept that runs throughout Peale's work. The idea that we don't have to go it alone.
That there's a source of strength and wisdom available to us if we're open to it.
And I think that resonates even with people who aren't necessarily religious.
I agree. It's like that feeling of being supported by a community, a mentor, or even just a strong belief in something bigger than yourself.
Tapping into something that gives you a sense of purpose and belonging.
And on that note of connection and support, I think we've reached a good point to pause.
We've explored the link between positive thinking and health, the power of changing our thoughts, and the importance of that balance between effort and rest.
It's been quite a journey so far, and we've got one more part to go.
We'll wrap up your deep dive with some final takeaways and some thought-provoking questions, so sit here.
All right, welcome back to your deep dive. It's hard to believe we're already at the final part.
I know, right? It feels like we just started.
Peale has given us so much to think about, from self-belief and inner peace to that incredible link between our thoughts and our well-being.
It's really been a journey through the power of positive thinking, hasn't it?
It has. And as we were going through all this material, one question kept popping up for me. Okay, let's hear it.
If negative thoughts can actually create real-life challenges,
Hmm.
and Peele makes a strong case for that, right?
He does.
Then what happens when we flip the script?
Like, what incredible possibilities are there when we truly embrace positive thinking?
That's the million-dollar question. It really gets to the heart of Peele's message.
He seems to be suggesting that our thoughts have this incredible power.
To shape not just our inner world, but our experiences in the outer world as well.
It's like we become magnets, attracting the very things we focus on.
You dwell on negativity and fear, and guess what? You're likely to encounter more of that.
But if you cultivate faith, optimism, belief in yourself, suddenly a whole new realm of possibilities opens up.
It's like unlocking a hidden potential within ourselves.
And he keeps coming back to the power of faith in this process, too. And it's not just about a specific religious belief here.
Right, it's more about a universal force that can help us achieve incredible things.
Remember that analogy he uses about the mustard seed?
Oh yeah, how even the tiniest amount of faith can have a huge impact.
It's like planting a tiny seed that grows into this massive tree.
And he's saying we don't need to have this unwavering, perfect belief.
Even a little spark can make a difference.
And what I appreciate is he doesn't present faith as just this passive thing.
Right, it's not about sitting back and waiting for things to happen.
It's about actively engaging with it.
He encourages us to, prayerize our lives, to visualize our desires, to take real action towards our goals.
Combining faith with action.
Exactly. We're not just passive recipients of fate.
We're active participants in creating our own destinies.
And having that, as Peale says, unseen partner in the process can be so powerful.
It's like having this constant support system.
A mentor, a cheerleader, someone who believes in you even when you doubt yourself.
And that can make all the difference.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the power of positive thinking, let's turn it back to you.
What parts resonated with you the most?
Yeah, what stood out?
What areas of your life could you maybe infuse with a little more positivity?
Are there any obstacles you're facing that you could approach with a renewed sense of faith and belief?
It's amazing what a shift in perspective can do.
Maybe you're feeling inspired to try some of those practical techniques Peale talks about, like visualization or affirmations.
Or even just paying closer attention to your thoughts, recognizing the power they have to shape your reality.
Exactly. This is your journey, and we've just provided a little glimpse into Peale's wisdom. We hope it sparked your curiosity.
And empowered you to create a life filled with joy, purpose, and fulfillment.
Keep believing, keep striving, and keep exploring that incredible power within you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.